Just fine. Okay.
All right, I'm recording. This is May 18th Mastermind meeting. So we're going to cover a couple things, and we're going to look at just a quick update on Triple P, because some of us in 19 states got a little bit of a surprise if we weren't paying attention, and that was that your state was going to tax your Triple P money. And so there are 19 states that are taxing this. Was anybody already aware of that? You already knew that was going to happen? I didn't know that was going to happen. So my account was like, yeah, that's state income. So California, amongst others, 19 states that will not let you. Basically, they're not taxing that. They're just not letting you write off the same number of expenses to justify that money. And so basically it becomes taxed.
Are you going to pull up the map, Eric?
I can do that. Yes, I can do that.
That'd be good.
Look at it and see.
I think we're safe here in Tennessee, aren't we? We're not getting taxed on it. I bet you are, Eric, in California.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Alabama, I don't think is being taxed. I looked at that map when you sent it to me, and then I didn't remember all the states.
Yeah. So here it is. I was shocked that Texas and Florida were on it, but
yeah.
Forgiven
Wow.
Triple P loans taxed, either included in taxable income or expenses deducted disallowed. And that's what you're seeing, expense deduction disallowed. So
Great.
yeah. Do you see what state are you in, Tushar? What was
North
it?
Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, North
North
Carolina, it's going to be taxed. Wow.
Virginia. Yeah. So most of us have already filed our taxes. Now, here's what my CPA said to me, that in California, you can see that it's some, but not all businesses. Okay. So the lighter shade, so Virginia and California. So what she said was they're still trying to fight this. So what'll happen is if that state gets overturned, okay, on that decision, you'll have to file an amended return. I don't think we have anybody in Washington. Okay. I don't know. Note, you can go down here in the note. I mean, it's not very specific. You have to ask your CPA, deductible for some businesses. So I'm not quite, it's probably like, I don't know, nonprofits or something. So make sure if you're in the orange, make sure you talk with your CPA about it and you understand what's going on. And especially if they overturn this decision, then you get to refile your taxes, do amended return for your state, and you'll get that money back. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I see
Okay.
Alaska. Alaska's green. That's good. You've got several up there.
Yeah, Alaska. It's funny. I thought it was going to be like red and blue. I thought we were going to see some political things, but just there is really no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
I don't see the same things really.
Maine
So
is green too. I'm surprised Maine is. That's
yeah,
unusual.
yeah. All of these are typically blue states, and
Yeah.
they were not taxing it. So very interesting. And so what we were going to do today is we are going to Google you.
Yeah. Here we
We're
go.
going to Google you. We're going to Google you. And I'm going to stop share real quick. Is anybody want to volunteer to have their website presence be our guinea pig? And it could be that you're killing it, that you're doing really good, and we just point out all the things you're doing really good. Or is anybody want to volunteer to be our first victim, our first participant here? Hey, Andy.
Yeah. I don't have a website now.
I know.
You can do mine, Eric.
It'd probably
Okay,
be
I
a
will.
good idea to look at Lopez's website, but he ain't here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could do that.
Dr.
So
Hardiker volunteered.
yeah,
Yeah.
Chitra, I'll do that right now. So let
Yeah,
me
thank
go
you.
back to square one on my Google here. Okay, and I'll share screen. And so there's a couple of things that you want to do. And I was just Googling her, so you can see she's already here. So if I know her name and I search her, you're gonna see some things already that most of you will do. The first thing that I noticed that's really important is there's no paid ad. She's not accidentally paying per click for someone to Google your name. You never want to pay for your name to be searched, right? That's like paying, $2 to $8 for someone to look up your phone number. They know your name. You don't need to do a pay-per-click ad for that. Does that make sense? The other thing is you want to make sure that your Google reviews are working. So whatever software you're using, Bird's Eye, Legwork, Weave, Solution Reach, OpenDDS, Opera DDS, all of those, right? That you're using that system to get the Google reviews going. Okay. Now I can also, the other thing you want to make sure is that when I search this, I think I also searched her. Yeah, that's the practice name. So I click on it and I get the same thing. That's really important. That's really important. Some people have so many different names, you get so many different things, and then you go over here and you scroll and you look at the reviews, and like the practice name, right, has 24 Google reviews, but when you Google the doctor, you get 3 reviews. It should not be split. It should be the same exact number. That means everything's funneling to the same place. That sound right, Paula?
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you, people don't realize this. People don't get it. So thank you for pointing that out. And there's a lot to be said about your Google business page, what we're seeing on the right side here. Most people ignore that. They don't even know what's going on there because they don't Google themselves. So this is important.
We were doing this with a client the other day, Paula. What did we find? What was it that we couldn't find?
Well, they had some third-party reviews.
That's right. They were using other than like a Weave or something like that. That's right.
Yes, and they weren't going to Google.
Yeah.
And so they had more reviews on the third-party websites than they did on the Google, but that doesn't really count when you're looking at SEO.
Yeah. Yeah. So in their situation, it would have said 24 Google reviews, and then down here, Paula found it was like other things. There was like another section right here. It was like reviews from the web, and then right here it said whatever company they were using to get reviews, like 1,300 reviews, which do you no good. That's not helping your SEO, right?
Right.
Huh. I wonder why it says error. Anyway, so all of it is important, and you want to make sure it's working the right way. Now,
and can we talk about these pictures right here?
Yeah.
Probably hers are up to date, but I see lots of team members who forget about this, and they have photos from like 15 years ago. Maybe they're not even at that office anymore. They've moved to a new location. It's still showing the old location.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you want to be able to get in and edit these things.
Mm-hmm. So if you've added a doctor, or you've changed locations, or you've remodeled your office, you want to make sure you update these pictures. If you have new team members, which that happens sometimes, where we get changes in our team.
My son got a 1-year tech degree. He went to a tech school on what's called UI UX, user interface, user experience. So all he studied was, when I'm a user, when I'm a patient Googling you, what's my reaction to what I see? And what Paula's talking about plays a huge role in that process, because they don't want someone to look at it and go, oh, I don't want to go there. Or, right now, during COVID, oh my gosh, they're wearing masks. That could be a really good thing. But in 6 months, that might turn into a negative thing. Mm. Why are they wearing masks in their picture? Disney World just announced yesterday, no masks outdoors. Woohoo! When I go in November, I'm super pumped. Now you still got to wear a mask when you go in the line, right? In the line, you got to wear a mask. So everything is so mixed, but in 6 months, this might be outdated. So, yeah.
Another thing to point out here is your hours. Make sure your office hours are correct on here. You'd be surprised at how many people use this when they're trying to call you.
Right.
So there's a drop-down menu on their hours. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
There's a drop-down menu on the hours.
Yes,
and
Paula.
make sure they're right.
Okay, let's see. Right here, hours. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Monday. I don't know where Tuesday disappeared. Oh, here it is up here at the top. Sorry. Tuesday, that's today. Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. Okay. Looks good. Yeah. Google me, right? Google yourself, see what happens. Now, the next part of the UI UX is when you go to the website and you look at the first couple of things. And Doctor and I were just talking, we literally just talked about this. We just hung up the phone and said, all right, I'll see you in 2 minutes. So right here, when you get, if you notice when I did this search, right? Look at this number at the top up here. You see this? 1.3 million results just by Googling this right here. What'll happen is someone will type in best dentist of Raleigh, North Carolina. And your practice might show up in that search in one of these results. And then when you get your Google Analytics report, it's going to say, yeah, you had 3,000 impressions. Well, that's because you were on page 6 of someone's Google search, right? They never saw you, but it's counted as an impression. You follow? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So what we want to understand is it's not about impressions, and it's not even about clicks to site. When they say, yeah, you had 100 clicks to site, well, that could be your existing patient Googling you. They know your name, right? And they're just looking for this number right here. So one thing Dr. Chitra and I were just talking about was make sure that you have 2 numbers up here, because I want something very obvious for new patients to click. And sometimes they'll click on this and it'll say, are you a new patient? Click here. Are you an existing patient? Click here. It's really cool technology. So it looks like there's one phone number, but then it goes into a phone tree after you click on it. That's really cool too. And then from your website company, the information you're getting back monthly is how many people click the number that says new patients next to it. That's super important. That's the number we want to look at. And then what I do with the trackers, I look, okay, well, your website SEO company says you had 20 clicks on the new patient phone number, from 3,000 to 300 visits to 20 clicks a new patient. On those 20 clicks of new patients, this says we scheduled 10 new patients. That's not high enough. Let's work on our phone skills. Okay, so that's a huge part of it. And then make sure you have your social media up at the top. Paula, anything else about phone numbers and this sort of thing?
I think, maybe if this is still true, but for example, see where she has her 919 in parentheses.
Yeah.
If we're going to put your phone number that way, you have to list it that way everywhere. Because I heard, if this is still true, that it messes up the search engines.
They don't link up. Yep.
When you have some phone numbers listed with the area code in parentheses and some you put the dash. And it confuses the algorithms when you're searching. So
yeah,
if you're going to list phone number with the area code like that, it has to be that way everywhere. And also, if you have more than one phone number, I hear that confuses the search.
That's why the tree is really important. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, see, like out here, same phone number listed the same way.
Good job.
789-4166. 789-4166.
It worked out.
Say it again.
It worked out. I didn't plan it that way.
a lot of all of us are just figuring this out as we go. I completely agree. All right.
And the address too, the way your address is, like if you have boulevard or place and it's abbreviated somewhere and it's not abbreviated the next place. So just little details.
That goes back to the name of the practice, the name of you, that everything's funneling to one place. Health grades, Facebook, Yelp, all the sites. Your SEO company should be making sure it all looks exactly the same, that it's in sync and it's very succinct. It goes to the same place. It reads the same way. So then up here, I would have your social media. Like I'd have Facebook, Google reviews, Yelp reviews, Instagram. Here's the thing that I think, Paula, when I'm a patient searching for you, okay, all this is mumbo jumbo. I want to know, what do you look like? Who's the person that's going to be treating me? Do you look scary? Right? Yep. Oh, thank goodness. She looks normal. All right. I don't have to worry about somebody scary that's going to be treating me.
She looks beautiful. She's beautiful.
It's like, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. Better than normal. Yeah. So, her hands don't look like they're ginormous, whatever it is. Got your reviews. but I want to see the team. I want to know what's going on with the
Yes.
team. I want to see
Yes.
inside the building. It's like if I'm going to a restaurant, I want to know what the chef looks like. Is he or she well kept? You know, is my food going to be clean, you know, based upon looking at them? How are they going to take care of me? Okay. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Awesome. Now, after I do that, I would say there's 3 or 4 things that run across the middle of most websites. And they usually have to do with big case marketing. Paula, I think of 4 things. Maybe you have one to add to this. So I think of number 1 would be like maybe Invisalign would be something that I would market here, straightening your teeth. The second would be sedation, high fear patients could be something that I could market here with the right verbiage, by the way. The third would be implant dentistry would be the next thing that I would market here. And then 4 could be holistic dentistry because those patients typically want to replace everything all at once. So those are 4 cases that you could look at to market here, case types, in order to get them to click on your site. Paula, any large cases that you would add to that?
You know, I think it depends on the practice and what
They
you're
do.
really
Yes.
wanting. Like some would probably add dental sleep appliances
Sure.
if we wanted to put that in there, or if they're
Yep.
really catering to TMD.
Yep, that's good too.
Okay,
Yeah.
So, another thing that I really use as a rule of thumb when I'm writing marketing copy or ads or things like that is appealing to the 6 objections. If we already know patients are prone to objections, let's talk about how we're going to overcome those objections. And what are those 6 objections? You got money, time, fear, lack of urgency, lack of trust, and confusion. So does your website address the 6 objections somewhere? And that would also be in social media. That makes a nice series of ads of how you're addressing the 6 objections. I think that's important to let your patients, when they're searching, find those things.
That's right. So I want to see inside the restaurant. So I'm going to click on our practice. I'm going to say, all right, who would I be working with here? Okay, so I read a little bit. I'm an I. I'm looking for pictures. Okay, so friendly. Okay, great. Okay, team. So it's a very similar. Now, what I would suggest is also a picture of the physical plant. What's the kitchen look like? Now I know what the chef looks like, but what's the kitchen look like?
Yeah.
Right? Is it clean? Is it neat?
Mhm.
Okay. Is it beautiful? What is it? That has an impression. Remember, we talk about every interaction that our patient has with us, it builds confidence in your competence,
Sure.
right? Credibility comes from confidence in your competence. So how you answer the phone, what the physical plant looks like, how you talk to me, all those things, how your website looks and reads and interacts with me, it instills either confidence or it doesn't, in how competent you are as a dentist. Now I'm starting to believe, are you credible? Okay. So I would have maybe some more individual team photos, you know,
Yeah, I'm
just like
waiting for
this.
this. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, good. And
I'm
then
waiting for their info for the girls
bio?
to give it in bio
Sure.
so that
Yeah.
I can
Yeah. They'll never do it unless you sit down and have a
know.
team meeting and say, write your bio, because they don't know what to say. Okay.
No, I gave them questions that
Good.
they need to answer
Perfect.
so that they
Good.
can, they can answer those questions and get me a bio. I think I have to get behind them and
Yeah.
make
light
them
a
do
fire.
it.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I want to know how good of a, I want to see a menu with pictures on it. If I order the burger, what does it look like? Okay. So I might go to cosmetic dentistry and just see, can I see what you've done in the past? Do I see a before and after picture of that service? Oh, I don't have any pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I might have to click here. I go, maybe there's more pictures here. Let me go learn about veneers and click here.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'd want to show before and after pictures in this slot.
And please
Okay.
don't put up smiles that are retracted. Please don't.
Yeah, show the lips. Show the lips.
Okay.
One thing I did notice, I want to go back to the homepage. I want to show something here real quick. This little box always gets in my way. All right, let's go down here. I want to show you guys something. So right about here, maybe underneath, or maybe like right in here. There it is. That's what I wanted to see. The next thing I want to know is what does everybody else say about the food in your restaurant? I'm want other people's opinions. And so this is great. Constantly filling through. Okay, it looks like they have good reviews. And I can get that by going up here to Google reviews too, but it's nice to have it feeding into your website. That is great. Love that. Okay. I might have something floating everywhere I go, like this right here, request an appointment. No matter where I go, that's not disappearing. Do you see how it doesn't matter where I go, or I can always request an appointment? There it is again. There it is. That's really good. Love it. Very nice. Okay. Looks really good. Anything else, Paula, on this one?
I like to say appeal to DISC. What do you
Okay.
have? You got to have the bullet points for the D.
Yep.
They won't go through all the words. They don't
That's
like
right.
all that. You know, if you're going to have the explanation, at least have a section of bullet points. You've got to have the pictures for the eye. The S wants to see if you're comfortable, if it's safe, if it's comfortable, like we've been talking about safe. And the C, they want the details. They'll dig for it. You don't have to put up a lot of details if you don't want it to look too wordy, but at least have a link for more information where they can go and get all those details.
Yeah.
I made a YouTube video for infection control. So I haven't put that link in here. I just need to add that link. And I think that might give the office like an office tour. Or maybe I should make an
Office tour is a really good idea. If you have a membership plan, that needs to be front and center. I know Dave Pierce done a great job with that, with the Advantage on his page. I would also say, Eric, we were editing a bio for somebody not long ago, and your patients, think like a patient. Don't think like your fellow dentist in your bio. And what do your patients want to know? They want to know that you've been trained, but that's not the first thing they want to know.
Yeah.
They want to know what you do for fun, what your family's
Personal.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to see the personal stuff first. And we're typically, when I see bios, they've got the personal stuff last. I mean, I've done that too. So make your bio more conversational and more like you're talking to a patient about yourself and building a rapport with them.
Yeah, I love the lead with, why I got into dentistry was in a story, and I love my family because we do this, this, and this. I mean, when I meet with a new client and I'm doing Zoom, this is what I show them. I show them this. This is the first thing they see when I share my screen with them. Oh, can't see it. It's black, huh? Sorry.
Yeah.
Try again. Let me try again. I show them this. There it is. Were you seeing that before?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I show them this picture. I was like, look, this is my favorite people at my favorite place. All right, this is my house back here. This is my room right up here. Okay. So, what I would say is, and here's that video you were talking about. Now on this, we talked about this. Get that link, embed it in your text messages, send it out, have people share it, get it on social media, get it out there. Watch how many views you have on this, okay? And make sure that you're seeing that go up. It should be something that's getting some traction. Okay. Real quick, I just want to talk about pay-per-click and then I'll let Paula take over and I'll exit. I'm not a huge fan of seeing the word ad up here. I'm one of those, I'll skip over it. But I know there are practices that are needing new patients that want to do pay-per-click, and that's okay. But set a budget, and I've talked with Netsley about this. I've talked to Dr. Chitra about, we talk about this sort of thing. So when you do pay-per-click, the analogy, I was just saying this to Dr. Chitra, it's so funny, is I don't use a net throwing it overboard to catch a bunch of fish. So your name, your practice name should not be associated with pay-per-click for you. You don't want to pay for someone to Google your name so they can call you. That's wasting your money on your pay-per-click or your practice name. You don't want it to say best dentist, Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, right? That's a waste of money. You want it to be very specific. So it's like a big lure, a huge lure on your fishing line that you cast in a very specific place in a cove that you slowly reel. And you might get some nibbles here and there. You might only get 20 nibbles, right? Versus the net pulling in a bunch of things, right? You're going to get little nibbles, but you're going to land a big fish. So you might spend $100 a month, a very low budget on pay-per-click that is specific to somebody who types in here, Where can I get the best dental implants in Raleigh, North Carolina? Where's the best place to get Invisalign in Raleigh? Like, it's very specific to those big 4 or 5 things that Paul and I were talking about. Nobody else is probably nobody else in a practice probably marking for that. So you got to work with your SEO company, and they're going to think it might be a little bit off, but you're going to very specific laser-like focus on what you're looking for. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Awesome. All right. I'll be here. I'll just be in the background. You won't see me or hear me.
Okay. So why don't we take some questions at this point, and then I'll share a couple other things. So who's got a question about what we just talked about?
What were the 6 points that you mentioned, Paula?
The 6 objections?
The fear, yeah. Mhm.
Gotcha. So we know that most people have an objection at the dentist.
Objections,
We hear objections all the time when we're presenting treatment, things like that. And the 6 most popular objections, or unpopular objections, however you want to look at it, are fear, money. In other words, I'm afraid of the dentist. I don't have the money to pay for this. I don't have the time. I'm too busy. That's the 3rd one, right? Then there's lack of urgency. It's not broke, don't fix it, right? Then there's lack of trust.
Right.
Maybe they haven't met you before, so there's lack of trust. And then the last one is confusion.
Confusion.
Maybe we
yeah,
gave
that's
them.
what I was trying to recollect and I couldn't recollect the last one.
Yes, that's one I added just a few years ago. Actually, I've been on a search for quite a while for the missing objection. Is there another one out there? And I think sometimes we give the patient so many options and we overtalk and we oversell it. We give them, you could do this, or, you know, if you don't want to do that, I mean, we could do this, or you know, and if that doesn't work, I mean, you want to try this, we can do that. And then they leave like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And this comes into play a lot with implants, or if it's a large case, complex case. So how are we appealing to those objections they're going to have? How are we answering those objections on our website and our social media before they ever come in? So our appointment hours that we offer, that helps with the time objection. What are some other ideas that you guys have? How would you address the money objection on your website? That's pretty easy, right? You talk about your finance options, your membership plan.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're talking to everybody. So how do you address a lack of urgency on your website? Who's got an idea?
I don't know, Paula. It's Andy. Maybe you could show a before picture of a crack and an after picture after its tooth had split, you know, something like that.
Show some pictures of gum disease. Dr. Sutton, what's a good lack of urgency preventer on your website? Testimonials?
That's a good question, Paula. I
Yep.
don't have the answer.
Testimonials, somebody could come on and say, like Dr. Allgood did a lot of oral sleep appliances. You get a testimonial on there of you know, I ignored this for a long time and all of a sudden I was in some serious trouble. Or clenching. I ignored it for a long time and I didn't know what it was, and then I broke 3 teeth and ended up, you know, in a mess. So we can address those lack of urgency, things like that. So is that making sense, what we're doing? Okay, good. Anybody else have a question? That was a good question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So, Dushar, you got a question? No? Okay.
No.
Watching your body language there. You came forward. I'm like, so what about connecting your social media with your website? And who would like to volunteer for me to pull up your social media page, your Facebook page? Anybody? Pull up your Facebook page.
I don't even know how to pull up my Facebook page.
I have a Facebook
My
page,
fault. I
Paula.
never do, so it give me a chance to look at it.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
So Dr. Sutton, you have a Facebook page, right?
Yes.
And I think we're friends on there. Let me see if we are. Yeah, it says we are. Okay, let me share. Okay, so here we're gonna go with David Sutton's. Okay, here we go. Look at that picture. Okay, so people may look you up instead of looking up your practice. They may look you up this way. So where they go next is right here. They want to see where you work. Do I have the right one? Is this the right one? So you've got owner at Newport Family Dental Care, but it won't, I can't click on that to get to your business page, Facebook page. It's not a link. Now you've got your website right here, but what I want to do is I want to be able to click right here and go to your practice Facebook page. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Let me pull up Joseph. Is that okay if I pull up
Yeah,
Joseph?
I'm sure he does a better job than I do.
Okay. So let's pull up Joseph. Now he's got a nice background picture. He's got his family. This is his personal page. Now look here. You see what I'm doing? See what happened? You see that where I was telling you that where I was looking for the link? Here's the link, and look what it does. As soon as I hover over that, it pulls up your practice page. And if I click right here, it's going to take me over to your practice page. That's what we're talking about. So what you want to do is go to your social media page and make sure that your personal page connects with your practice page. Everybody get that? Okay, Tushar, you want me to look at yours?
sure.
I haven't
Yeah,
updated
I don't know if
mine
mine
in
is
a long time.
not too sure.
What's that, Dr. Bulsara? Say again?
I said I haven't updated my Facebook in a long time.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I started using Instagram, but I probably should.
do you want me to look? I mean, are there any pictures that we wouldn't want to see?
No, definitely not. I haven't updated it. You can look at it. I
Okay.
have myself in at ECU.
Yep. So you'll want to update this. So you want to go
Yeah.
in. Nice picture.
I
Nice
don't-
picture.
Yeah.
I like this too. But you'll want to go in and put, especially June 11th, you want to put your
Yeah.
owner.
That's gotta change.
So you're not in school anymore.
No.
And so you want to make sure you have a link here to the Murphy Dental Center practice page.
It all happened so fast.
Yep, I gotcha. Okay. So the other thing about this too is when you have your practice page, when you want things to get over and get more attention on Facebook, especially, post it on the practice page and share it to your personal page. Is that what everybody does? Get your team to share it. So you post everything on the Murphy Dental Center page and then ask everybody to share to their personal page from there.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So let me talk about something else, which is your SEO. How many of you are paying for SEO every month? Does anybody know?
I
Okay.
am.
How much are you paying? Do you know?
No.
Don't know.
Not a specific number. It's like a total charge that I pay 400 for the website. So
Yeah. Okay. You pay $400 a month,
400 a month.
and it includes SEO.
Yes, it does.
That's pretty low, but
I did a
don't know.
bargain.
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they may not be doing any ad. Obviously, he looked you up and there were no
No.
ads. So you're
No,
not.
there were no Google ads. That
So
is
you-
not a part.
Okay.
Not Google ads, but he said that at least they would change things on the website so that it would bring it up and add keywords. So he's not
So-
doing. Yeah.
That's good.
I'm sorry.
No, I interrupted you. I thought you were finished. So what we know is some people are paying 400 up, 600, 800 more a month for SEO. And what really gets you high in the search engines, two things, Google reviews and Google ads. So yesterday we pulled up a site, I think it was yesterday, and they had tons of reviews, like maybe 400 Google reviews, okay? So when you search for dentist in their city, and it's showing all the dentists in the city, there was another practice that had maybe 30 Google reviews that was ahead of them in the search engine. Why was that? They had 400 Google ads. Why were they not number one? Because this other practice had AdWords going. They had the ad going. So they got number one because they're spending money on Google ads. You see what I'm saying? And then underneath, they were number two, which is great. But you would think with that many Google reviews, they'd be up at the top. No, they weren't. Now, if they had the ads and the Google reviews like that, they would have been up top. So I've seen people use the Weave review system, or there's Podium, Bird Eye. There's some of them out there where the patients get a text after they leave their appointment to review your office. And then it pushes, you want to make sure that pushes to Google. It doesn't stay on that site. Like Weave will push that to Google. And I've seen, I have one practice in mind that they were on the 4th or 5th page of the Google search. You couldn't find them. And it took a lot of effort to find them. When we finally found them, they weren't paying any extra for search engine or anything like that. All they did was start using those reviews, like with Weave. Weave was sending out that text to their patient. In 3 months' time, they were up top on the first page in the top 1 or 2 searches in their town. That's phenomenal, just to see the impact their reviews have. Now, Google's always changing their algorithms, but the last I heard, it's not so much how many you have, it's how frequent they are. Anybody know anything about that? Anybody hearing anything about that right now? So the two main things, like we said, are Google Ads and Google reviews, and having them regular Google reviews. It's not 200 Google reviews you had from 2 years ago and you haven't really had any since then. That's what's going to get you higher. So if you want to pay someone SEO money to put ads out for you, what you're going to get is you're going to get a fee for SEO plus your ad spend on top of that. So when you're looking at your marketing contracts, you want to make sure you're asking, okay, I'm paying SEO. How much of that money is going for ad spend? And sometimes none of it. Like Dr. Hardiker, you're paying $400. Maybe they're just working on words. So it could be that obviously they're not doing any ad spend. So we want to know, we want them to break that down if they're going to be spending money on ads as part of that money. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're not spending on ads for sure, because that would have
Yeah, they'll probably bump you up to $800 a month or $1,000 if they start doing ads.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people will spend around $400 to $600 a month on AdWords if they're really pushing. So, and like Eric said, if you're going to do some ads, make sure they're specific. If you go on my YouTube channel, there's a YouTube from, you may have to search for it, but of how to do Google ads and be specific. So I had an admin team member who was paying a marketing company to do their AdWords, and she learned how they were doing it, and she picked it up, started doing it herself, and did a really good job. And this was a fee-for-service practice, and they began to tweak it. You have to tweak it pretty much every week, change the words around. They went for specific things, not just, generic dentist. You got to really stand out if you want to spend your money on that. So those are a few tips that Eric and I have come across as we've been looking at marketing contracts for a long time and looking at results and what works and what doesn't work. Who's got a good story to share about success with their social media marketing or their website marketing? Dr. Sutton, I see you guys on Facebook a lot. You do Facebook ads.
I don't do a thing. That's everybody else but me.
Joseph does the ads, and he does a pretty good job with those. He does those himself, right? Yeah, you don't know. Okay. From what I recall, he does the ads himself. So Facebook ads or boosting your posts, it goes out to a target market, and when people are scrolling, they'll see that same thing come up 4 or 5 times. So who's planning? Yeah, go ahead.
May I say something?
Yep.
I know that in the times past, you've had fantastic suggestions about what to do with Facebook, what to do with your practice, that type thing.
Yeah.
The biggest issue that I had was having someone that could properly implement all of this.
Yes.
And I think that's a challenge. It's just, like David, if he didn't have his son there, what would he be doing? And it was always
I'm
time. And you
working
have,
on
and
open dental sheets today.
He's been working on open dental. Yeah.
that's good. But you have these fantastic ideas, Paula. But we usually need somebody outside of the practice that can help us with this. What ideas do you have along those lines?
That's a great question, Dr. Algott. So every practice needs a marketing director. That's a team member who's a marketing director. It may be the doctor for a while. Maybe the doctor's really into that and likes it. Maybe it's a team member. And so I was a marketing director for our practice. We had a 12-month marketing plan. And so we had every month we had our marketing things listed that we were going to be doing that month. And you can put a budget in there. The team needs a budget. And we need to get the whole team involved in that. Now, if you want to use a third party, you want to use a marketing company, you still need a marketing director on your team, because here's what we know. Let's say you hire a marketing company and you start paying them that monthly fee and you're not in touch with them on a weekly basis, you're going to get pushed to the back burner. They're going to keep taking your money, but they're not going to push the results for you unless you have a liaison on your team that is a marketing director that has a weekly scheduled call with your marketing company to talk about results that you're getting.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
That's pretty critical. You don't know what's going to be put in there.
And you had that in your practice too. You had an outside marketing person, right?
Oh, well, you know what? We had, the Facebook group, the website group.
Yeah.
And then Kim worked with it.
Right.
And then we did go to that Allison South.
Yeah.
Which is, at this stage, I think they're still working with Dr. Lopez, but I'm not sure that somebody's really paying close attention to that at this
right.
stage.
And that's what it takes. It takes someone looking. I know a lot of times on coaching calls, depending on the focus of what our calls are, I'll look at the Facebook page and I'll go, okay, your last post was January the 31st on your Facebook page. A lot of teams want to do it themselves, which is great. I love that when the team gets involved and they're putting up pictures, but you got to be posting 3 to 4 times a week. And Eric does postings. There's several, some of you, I'm not sure who on here is using. Dr. Nestle, Eric's posting on your social media. And so he does that. He offers that as a service, and to make sure you're getting those posts out there. And I have teams who take videos and pictures. Facebook is about faces. Social media is about faces. They don't want to see the flowers without a person in the picture. They don't want to see the birthday cake without a person in the picture. Right?
Yeah.
Don't just put up a picture of the flowers that somebody brought you or the donuts that somebody brought you. You got to have somebody a person in the picture. This is a big no-no.
So tell me this, with Eric helping with the posting, what information does he glean from the practice, or is he doing some standard info posting, or what, how is he handling it, or how should someone be handling that?
That's a great question. We can certainly pull him in maybe next time and talk about that. I know he does both. He does both, and he has some standard things, but then he will also post specific things to your practice. And he also responds to the messenger. Like if Instagram or Facebook Messenger, someone is messaging your office with a question, he responds to those questions in a timely manner. You know, sometimes your team doesn't see those come in, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The chat.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure someone's responding to that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you get on these chats and see a chat and they say someone will respond to you in 24 hours, or someone is online right now to respond with, you know, that type of thing. I doubt Eric's on 24 hours. The whole time.
I don't think he's on 24 hours, but he does respond to the messenger probably soon. I mean, from what I know, he responds. He's got a couple of clients that I work with that they get a lot of messages. They get a lot of the Facebook Messenger, the private message. So you have to know how to respond to that. I mean, one day we were on a call and he's like, "I'm getting messages from people on your Facebook page that your phones aren't working." You know, I mean, you better respond to that pretty quick and say, "What's going on with our phone lines? Why are the phone lines not working?" So things like that. This good. Anybody else have a question or comment that you've had success with, or? Dr. Bulsari, you're about to get into all this, aren't you?
Yes, I'm in the cusp of it all.
Yeah. No pun intended.
As you can see, my Facebook shows exactly where I'm at with all this. I'm still in school.
Yeah, right. You're still in school. You've been out of school for a long time.
Yeah.
All right. So any other questions or comments about the marketing
I
side?
have a question. You know, ultimately, inevitably, I feel like you may run into a bad review. And if anybody else is like me, I don't really look at good reviews. I go straight to the 1 stars. Like if I'm buying something on Amazon, I go straight to the 1 and 2 stars because I want to know, you know, like, why did somebody not buy this product, or why would somebody not want to go here?
Yes.
And that usually tells me more than the 5-star reviews. So I know in school one time at our clinic in Silva, I got a bad rap because it had a couple bad reviews. And, you know, it was all like, you know, I mean, the school environment's a lot different, slower and all that.
Yeah.
And so I just started telling a lot of my patients, you know, hey, can you, you know, if you enjoyed your experience, can you please leave us a good review? And eventually with more reviews, it got better. But what are you supposed to do about a bad review? Do you, you know, respond to that online and, you know, try to settle it there, or?
That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. That's wonderful, because that does come up every once in a while. It's usually most people that get that bad review and you're really passionate about your practice, kind of a punch in the stomach, you know? So a couple things about that are, yes, you want to respond. People want to see how you responded to that review. And you don't want to try to carry out a big conversation in this response. But here's a couple things I found. A lot of times these reviews are not really a patient. So let's say they've got a fake name, or they put up, you know, I was just there 2 days ago. Well, you look at your schedule and you don't have anybody by that name. And there's not even that person in your database. A lot of times what people will do to respond to that is say, I'm so sorry you had such a bad experience. In researching our database, we don't have a patient listed by your name. Perhaps you
Yeah.
have us confused with another dental office. I love that response. I
Yeah.
mean, seriously, you need to look. Is anybody have that
It's funny
happen?
you say that.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because the same thing happened at our school. The name on the review was not a patient of record, and so it was really confusing how to even respond to that, because it's like, had we known about this, then we probably would have tried to resolve it, but somehow it showed up on the internet.
Yes. So when you respond like that, and when that is the truth, obviously, and so that is one way to make sure you research that person. Do you have them in your database? Were they in your office? I've seen that happen many times. Another thing to say is just part of your objection formula, verbal skills of, and just cushion and say, wow, we're so sorry that happened. Please call our office at this number and we want to make this right.
Yeah.
And don't go into details of, well, if you hadn't used cuss words when you were here, we wouldn't have kicked you out, or,
Yeah.
You don't want to go into details about that. And I'll tell you, this is another reason why I'm not a big fan of sending people to collections. Make a healthy financial arrangement on the front end and keep your accounts receivable clean, because this comes up, somebody's got a $3,000 balance and you're not wanting to see them again, and they get mad at you and put this up there. They're never going to tell the whole story. And if you get on there and do a rebuttal, you can't do that, or it'll make you look bad. It's bad PR. So do everything you can in your systems, and your financial arrangement systems and your cancellation systems, to keep that firm and friendly verbal skill, and try to avoid some of these reviews if you can. And I tell team members all the time, there is never an appropriate time to argue with a patient. Never. It'll come back to bite you every time.
Sort of like arguing with your spouse.
Yeah. There's never an appropriate time to call out your wife. Yeah, right. Okay. All right. These are good questions. Yes.
Follow up to the question that Dr. Tushar had. When you have, like a review, when you're trying to respond to it, is HIPAA an issue that you're confirming that they are your patients by replying to the review?
They've already put their name out there that they're your patient, and I wouldn't necessarily go into their clinical private health information.
No,
details.
Definitely not. But even for you to respond, that was one thing, especially for a bad review. Like I got one bad review where it was for only $81. Can you believe it?
Yes.
I was like, what? Why did he go and review? We just sent a statement and here we have a review, but that's what brought me down to a 4.8, and I feel bad about it. And I'm trying to sink it down to whatever. But how do I respond? Like when I have to respond to that, I did not respond to that bad review, to tell you the truth. And that because I went back and forth in terms of how do I respond to this? And finally, I thought I should just say, I'm sorry this happened, or maybe I have to go back and look. But I had a big reply typed up, and then I held myself back because I didn't want to get into any kind of turmoil.
Yes, you want to keep it very simple and just use the, wow, I'm so sorry for the miscommunication or the misunderstanding, and we want to make this right. Please call our office so we can discuss this with you. Right. And that's usually enough. You don't have to go farther.
Right. Yeah. Patient had criminal history. I was not even going there. I was like, okay, I'm not, I don't want a gun in this office.
But really, if like we said, if it's if you get a review like that and it's not in your database, call that out and say, I'm so sorry you had such a bad experience. We've researched our database. We have
Right.
no patient by your name. Perhaps you have us confused with someone else.
No, unfortunately, yes, I had seen the patient, so
Yeah.
I couldn't say that.
No, you can't
But
say it
there-
if it's not true. But yeah.
But the review said it all. There was a little racial slur in it. So when people read it, I'm not worried because I don't have, spelled it out himself,
Yeah.
the patient did. So I'm not worried about it, but I did not respond to it, I think.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
think- I mean, you can choose, but overall, it is. Respond to the good ones too.
yeah, I
like,
do.
oh,
I do
thank you.
respond to the good ones.
Thank you so much. But yeah, when people see that you respond to those, sometimes they'll kind of hold back a little bit, like, oh
Right.
wow, she's going to call me out here if.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
a conundrum. It really is for everybody.
Yeah.
But the more good reviews you have, the better. Your score is going to go up, and it takes a lot of good reviews to pull that one down. But also, like the other doctor was saying a minute ago, when you've got perfect scores all the way through all the time, people are like a little suspect of that. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
somebody's got to have, like, tell me the truth. Tell me what's really going on. So, all right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
This is a great discussion. I will remind you of the office manager retreat that we have coming up. This is admin, office manager for your front office team. If you want to send other people, we have teams who are cross-trained that work the front and the back. That would be awesome. I have one doctor who wants to send his whole team. That'd be awesome too. So it's going to be a Zoom camp, Zoom retreat, and we're going to do 2 Fridays. We're going to do part 1 on July 23rd and part 2 on August 31st, 10 to 4. So you get $100 off for the second person. So we're really excited about doing this, and we'd love to have your team join us. So
You said August 31st. It says August 13th.
13th. Did I say 31st? I'm
Okay.
sorry. Thank you for pointing that
Okay.
out. It's the 13th.
Just wondering.
Yes, thank you very much. I read it backwards.
That's
Yep. So we decided to do the 2 Fridays, so we don't want to get people in overtime working on Saturdays, and then a lot of people do work. It's hard to take your team away on a Thursday and a Friday. So let us know if you have questions about that. We'd love to have your team. Anybody else have something to share before we go? We're going to wrap it up.
I'll be in
All right.
Tennessee next week.
Yeah, come into
I'll be
Tennessee, go
I'll be
fishing, right?
fishing with you next week.
Okay, well, I hope you have good weather. It's supposed to get hot.
Well, that'll be okay. I don't mind the heat.
All right, good deal. Well, listen, everybody, have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you, Paula.
All right, bye.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paula.
Bye.